Fabulous Mother Love. Okay, I froze up on there we go. And here we end. It's one of those things. It's Mother Love and Shaq C on your Saturday afternoon, reliving in the memories of Forgive and Forget. And when I was a host, and I never stopped hosting. Just because I don't host that one doesn't mean I don't host other stuff like Mother Love at the Mother Love Show right here online, where you can reach me at Facebook, Instagram, X, PXQ. Wow, wait a minute, they wrote me a list because they act like I can't remember. They know I can't remember. I'm like a broke refrigerator. Okay, wait a minute. What? Oh, he can't be calling on the show. What? Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Facebook, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Instagram, Geo Southern, LinkedIn, Podchaser, Podcast Addict. Yeah, because some of y'all are addicts. Restream, that's where we are now. Spreaker, Spotify, TikTok, and Twitter, X, better known as Twitter, and YouTube. And this is Mother Love and Shaq C as we relive the memories of a show gone by, but it's still extremely relevant today. And that's why we do this. For those of you who don't know, this is Shaq C. Tell them about yourself and how come you love Mother Love. Anyway.
I love Mother Love because I was a huge fan of Forgive and Forget from the very beginning. I was a little wee bitty child when the show was on originally.
Yeah, had all them wee child.
I mean, but you know, but I say that because Mother Love's love, it goes by, it's almost a 30-year relationship with me in the show. And so, but it really started in 2013 when the show reran on Bounce TV, and I recorded it and I started watching it and I had to record it again. And I didn't know if the show would be on again afterward. So I taped it and I saved it to my computer and I posted it on my YouTube channel. And now I have about 150 episodes. And that's how we were not magic. That's how we were drawn together. Thanks to Trayvon and thanks to God, really. This is all God.
And we just show up for the party. That's all I put on lipstick. We show up for the party. And I appreciate every Saturday and every day we get to love on each other. Because that was back, and I can't even say back then, because you could take those very same episodes, even the ones that they were making up to keep the drama going. And I you know what? I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know because I'm going to treat them like people. I'm going to treat them like this is real to me. And we're going to be, because you never know what people are going through. So what do you have for today? What kind? And I got my tissue. I had to keep tissue to watch the show.
Because this show is so good. That's why you get into it. But this is a good episode. Well, we have 3 stories here. It's another full episode. I know we've been doing that for the last few weeks, so I know these have gone really well. So we're doing another one. The first story is called "We've Only Been Married 2 months. Don't Divorce Me." So clearly something's going on in their relationship where it's in trouble 2 months in
already.
So,
well, yeah. See, that was an accident waiting to happen. Okay, let's go on with the show. So tell we've been married 2 months. You don't even see each other. You don't even start passing gas in front of each other at 2 months and you're married. What are you talking about? Okay, go ahead, roll the story.
All right, here we go.
I don't want to be judgmental. Yeah.
Forget Mother Love.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Forgive or Forget. Let's meet our first guest.
My husband and I have only been married for 2 months. Our marriage was going great until I quit my job. The bills started piling in, and we almost got evicted. My husband blames me for our debt, and I'm afraid he's going to leave me. But today, I'm begging him to stay.
Let's bring out Melissa Thornton. Melissa, come on out.
That's a new set.
Hi, Melissa.
Hi, Mother Love.
Now, Melissa, your husband Charles is backstage listening. Now, we'll find out if he's willing to accept your apology or not a little later on. Now, Melissa, tell us about your relationship with Charles.
Well, me and Charles met at work.
Okay.
And we dated for about 10 days, and then he asked me to marry him. I wanted to marry him, so I said yes, but I asked him, wasn't sure.
Wait, did you say 10 days?
10 days.
Like
10 days.
That's not even 2 weeks.
Right.
What was the rush, Dalfae?
It wasn't a rush. It just felt right. I asked myself, even though I've known him for such a short period of time, could I imagine not wanting to be around him, not having him in my life? And I couldn't imagine it, so I wanted him in my life.
So he said, marry me, Melissa, and you said yes, and you jumped the broom. Mm-hmm. And then what happened?
Well, once we got married, he got offered a better job during the day. So I said I was going to look for another job I was going to look for a job during the day because we were working third shift.
Okay.
So I got offered a management position. However, being that I just moved to where I live at in Georgia, and I don't know my way around. So I would have had to transfer to another store in Georgia. Mm-hmm. I couldn't get there. I don't have a car.
Oh.
So the supervisor told me, well, come on as an associate manager, and I'll just move you up. And that way you won't have to leave the store. Well, when I got there, I found out that she moved someone else up, so there was no place for me to move, but to a sales associate making $6. So I felt it was unacceptable, and I quit 4 hours later, which caused the bills started rolling in. We rented an apartment, but when we rented it, I had just got my income taxes, so it wasn't a problem paying to move in. But then, without a job, the rent came around in May.
That's a funny thing about that rent thing. It comes around every 30 days, huh?
Yes. We couldn't, he had bills before he met me. You know, he has a car, he has credit cards, just like, the average person does. So the rent couldn't get paid, the gas bill couldn't get paid, the cell phones couldn't get paid. Nothing could get paid because he's paying all his bills, which he only has enough money for. So he went to his parents. And his parents paid the rent, because we had an eviction notice. And we only been there a month. So she paid the rent, she paid some of the bills. So now we're in debt with her for $2,000. Plus, we still have other bills that are unpaid.
Plus, are you working?
Plus, I'm not working right now. However, my other job where we met offered me my job back. So hopefully I will be working once I leave the show.
So you went in, jumped into a marriage, totally unprepared, barely knew the man, then went into debt. And now you're saying he's ready to leave you behind this?
Well, I don't really know if he's ready to leave me, but I know I've asked him because we argue constantly. And so I asked him, I was like, well, do you want a divorce? Do you want an annulment? But he's not saying no.
Does he say yes?
He's not saying anything, so I'm thinking, well, maybe he does want it.
Well, what does he do?
He doesn't do anything but be quiet.
But
So
you
it
just
makes
said,
me
wait a
mad.
minute, you just said you argue all the
We
time.
argue all the time about the fact that I quit my job.
Okay.
And he doesn't think that I'm ever going to get another, because where I live at, everything goes on your credit report, everything. People can find out these things. So he thinks that eventually I'll get another job, but I'll be too far into debt. We'll be too far in debt and won't be able to get out.
Well,
so
$2,000 is not that's not chump change, baby. So are you planning on getting a job?
Of course.
Yes.
I was just wondering, you said it just felt right after 10 days. How could you even know the person after 10 days?
Well, a lot of things just fell into place. My family moved to Georgia a year and a half before I got there. And when we got to talking and started spending time together, we found out our parents had been friends before. We never met before. They never introduced us. It just so happens that we met each other even though our parents already knew each other. We spent all day together. We enjoyed our time together. We just couldn't see we go to work and we work all night long, and then you think that we'd be tired at 7 o'clock in the morning, but we stay up all over again and do it all over again, and we don't go to sleep. We just enjoyed each other like that.
Well, let me ask you, Melissa, do you want to keep your marriage together?
Of course.
What is it that you want from your husband?
I want.
First, before you tell me, don't tell me, turn around to that monitor and tell your husband.
Charles, I just want you to know that I'm sorry for quitting my job. I wasn't trying to quit my job because I didn't want to work. And I do love you and I do want this to work. You know that hopefully I'm going back to work and maybe it'll make things a little bit easier on us and we can get these bills paid. But I just would like for you to forgive me and to have a little bit of patience with me But I also need to know if you want an annulment, if you want a divorce, then I need to know an answer, because you won't ever give me an answer. And I'm hoping you can give me one today, as well as forgive me for putting us in debt as far as we are already so early in our marriage.
Now, Charles, don't say anything yet. We'll find out if you'll accept Melissa's apology right after this. We'll be right back.
Romance without finance is a nuisance. You do not go into a relation and everybody's in debt, and you working on a job. That was back in the day, $6 an hour. I wouldn't even buy you toiletries for a week. And 10 days, my husband and I were together, and we knew each other for 13 years. We developed a solid friendship, and I already knew I was gonna marry him. He didn't know. He was like, what kind of woman? What I did, what they would say that it would. That's why they have anti-stalking laws. But I wasn't stalking him. I was just checking him out, making sure he was around. I want to know the whole. Right. What is your and this was back in the day. You got a credit report, because we didn't have credit reports at first. When you got to college, everybody in the whole world, Discover, MasterCard, Visa, Target, everybody was giving you a credit card. And so he said, I didn't need to get any credit. He had enough credit cards. I like that guy. I like that guy. And so you really need to know who you're making a commitment to. And it's not just yourself that you're making a commitment to. You're making a commitment to this person that you're saying, I'm going to dedicate my life to you. And you don't even know them yet. See, in 2 months, you don't have a PIN number. You don't have a... Okay, never mind. Flashback, mother. Okay, go ahead. What's your take on them getting married in 10 days after they was, 10 days?
What is that Gwen Guthrie song? Ain't nothing going on but the rent.
Ain't nothing going on but the rent. Just call it. I mean, and see, I'm kind of sort of not buying her, because she said they had only been married for 2 months and they got an eviction notice after a month. The landlord give you 90 days.
No, you got it. And they got to get. I'm actually going through this right now. So goodness gracious, I just picked this episode. I'm going through this one. Like it takes way more than a month for that to happen. Like you got to get a court paper from the court to and to say, yeah, right. And then you get at least 90 days before that. So I don't know. Her story is a little off.
Shaky. Uh-huh. And I don't know. And I say I would be their story might be shaky, but the story itself is not shaky, because people will jump into relationships, quick, fast, in a hurry. You don't even know them. You don't even know if it's time for you to, belt in front on pass gas, come here and just scratching their butt. Hey, baby, good morning. What's up? Hey, boy, that coffee smell good. That's why they keep me away from caffeine. And see that, and you need to know these things. You need to know what kind of person they are.
Right.
How do they interact with other people? How will you interact with them, with other people? And these are things that folk don't take time to, to get to know. We have a friend who he was player. He was this chocolate, good-looking, well-dressed, kept him a good job, drove a nice car, and he decided with his finagling and gallivanting, he was going to marry this nice, quiet church girl, and she was going to be nice and quiet, and she was going to tame him. Ladies, you cannot raise a grown man. All his mama and them didn't do you, and the auntie and the grandma, you just cut that out. And he was just bound and determined that they were going to have a life together. Well, she got all her girlfriends and her sisters and the church members all in her ear like that. Girl, he ain't no good. He a low down dog. And they listened to that and broke up their marriage. But see, to me, nobody, if you really, really are committed to them, nobody can break you up except with you, and that's why you got to keep your family out of your relationship. Don't go to your mom and ask her for no money. Oh, they would say all the time, if I couldn't even ask for a loan, a floater loan, or hard, they would say, your husband can't do stuff for you. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my goodness.
I found out about that early on, in the relation. Okay, let's see what Melissa and Melissa and Charles got to say.
Charles, yeah. All right.
Welcome back. We're here with Melissa Thornton. Melissa says her marriage has been on the outs ever since she quit her job, causing her and her husband to go into serious debt. Now she's afraid her husband Charles is going to leave her. Oh, Melissa, let's see if Charles is willing to work things out. Walk over to the door. All right, Melissa Thornton, let's open the door. It's for somebody that say I love you, y'all coming over this all slow. It's all meandering over from the door. Talk to your husband.
I just want you to know that I never meant to put us in any of this. And I just want you to know that I love you and I want this to work. And I need your forgiveness because I need to know, are we gonna work on this? Because we're never, with the animosity between us, we're not going to get anywhere. It's just going to keep on going on and on and on and on and on. And it doesn't matter if I get a job, if you still harbor ill feelings towards me, then we're not going to get anywhere, you know?
No, I never wanted a divorce. I love you very much. I love Alexis. I treat her as my own. And I feel that as long as we have God on our side, that we will make it through.
Charles, that was beautiful. That was so lovely, so touching. You've been married 2.5 months. You knew the woman 10 days. Now let's be realistic. Marriage this is an ongoing, everyday thing. And what you said, you are absolutely right. Together, if you work on it, you can get through anything. But let's make no mistake. You can love her ever so much, that's not going to get the rent paid. I got this little thing the mother love says. Romance without finance is a nuisance. You can love somebody ever so much. This has been a hardship on both of you. You really ready to, make sure that this keeps going? And are you willing to get a second job and try to help?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, stand up with me.
Yes, what I would like to know, within the 10 days that y'all have known each other, had there been a lot of communication within the time y'all were together?
We talked all day and all night.
Okay, but how come y'all weren't able to sit down and work out the situation before you lost your job? So that way it could have been prevented, where you could have explained to him what your situation was and how you felt about the time that you were at work before you subjected yourself to quitting 4 hours after you were at work.
We didn't have a situation then.
You didn't?
We didn't have
everything was cool?
Everything was fine. It happened once we decided to get day jobs, and I got the day job, but a day job that I didn't expect. One that was a substantial pay cut.
But can I just make this other little mother love comment, baby? $6 an hour was better than no dollars an hour.
Yeah.
I just want to tell you, you can't come here. Yeah.
Mother love,
Yeah.
I got one question. This is something I just can't understand, because she's very fine. She's very attractive. I can't understand. He got a big diamond in his ear, and why isn't there a diamond on her finger? I don't understand. I mean, she's fine.
Yeah,
She's fine. He need to take that diamond out his ear and put it on her finger, because she's fine. Take it out your ear. Take it out. Look at the diamond. Look at that diamond in his ear. Look at that. Looking like Chris Tucker. Look at him. Look at him.
Well, take yours out and give it to me.
Give it to
No, not her, me. Well, what's up with that?
I understand that.
What's up with that?
See, I was in the before I met her, I was in the military for 2 years. I was in the Army, and I didn't have any bills, so it was like, I just
You could afford it.
Yeah, I spent my money on materialistic things, and
I ain't mad at you. That's what young people supposed to do. Buy big diamonds like that while you're single. You're married now.
I know.
So, yes, sir. No, you can't have it.
Okay, listen up.
Listen, we all make mistakes, but we have to learn from our mistakes. First of all, it says for richer, for poorer, for better, for worse. And you're going to be tested to see if you obligate yourself to every one of those things. So sometimes stuff happens. But Melissa, baby, I don't care if your job is funky. You don't never quit your job unless you have another one to back it up.
Could you
Don't you ever do that again.
Okay, now stop. Wait a minute, no. I just got to make one comment. I know we are just too fly together, and I'm just going to thank you so much for sharing your story with us. I'm glad you're not going to leave your wife, and you're willing to both work it out. We'll be right back after this.
Oh, yeah, we was fly.
Yes, he was.
You know, but I'm glad that he came through the door. Young love can really mess you up sometimes. That's why my advice to them, you know, get to know somebody first. Make sure that you can be friends, because a lot of times when you in this whole married thing and it goes sideways, you know, we will tolerate more from our friends than we do from our mates and our lovers. And so it was important for us to learn to find out about how we would be as friends. And I wanted to know how, because he told me that I said, well, why you can't cook? He said, I don't cook. My mother and my sisters cook. And it was like so chauvinistic. He tried to set his house on, well, he wasn't trying to set the house on fire, but he had like a pound of ground beef in a skillet about this big, and the flame, it was so smoky the fire department came. And I said, I got you. But for many, now he can make breakfast. And he can make a good pot of grits, but after that he ain't frying chicken. He's not cleaning any greens. Now he'll cut the heads off the fish, but that's about all he does. And what we do, I cook, and the men clean up. I don't mop floors. I don't sweep unless I feel like it. I don't take out trash. I make trash. I make 4 bags of trash, even though they just in the plastic bags you get at the store and everything. And so for those of you who don't know, $371 stores are closed, 99-cent store. Go in there, wipe them out before they go under. Okay, so what's the next story?
All right, the next story is called I Dumped You Up.
Wait a minute. Before we go to the next story, did you feel the earthquake in New York? I mean,
yes,
New York,
I did.
Berserk. They were like, "Oh Lord, the ground is crumbling." What? Now you understand that God's not playing.
Well, yeah, that's right.
And when you think about it, I mean, that was a 4.0 or 4.8 or whatever it was.
Yeah, 4.8.
Yeah, 4.8. That was like it was a quake, and you could feel it because they said you could. It was
quick.
New Jersey. And it, you know, I remember when we lived there in New York and New Jersey, we had a big giant rainstorm. All the patio furniture that flew up over the trees in the other people's house. They was running across the street trying to get our outdoor. It was very scary. And for those of you who might not know, thunder and lightning frighten me. Thunder and lightning. I'm like, when we was kids, it started thunder and lightning and storm the tape. Turn off all the lights. Sit down in a circle. Don't nobody say nothing. I'm like, why we sitting in the dark talking? I never understood that. We had to turn all the lights in the house off and sit in a circle and hold each other's hands. I was like, okay, I don't think I want to go like that. So that was your first earthquake.
Yeah, that was my first earthquake.
So what did you think when you felt the earth move under your feet?
Well, I thought when I was in my apartment, I was here in my apartment. I thought it was one of the cars coming into the apartment garage. It felt kind of weird. I was like, but usually that's what happens here. Usually they have big cars coming in and the gates moving and the building kind of does shake and make a noise. So that's what I thought it was. But then when I found out it was an earthquake, I was like, whoa.
See, you survived your first earthquake.
Yes, I survived.
The first one we had out here, I was ready to go. I was ready to go. I was like, get the luggage. I don't care about none of this stuff in here. Just get the luggage and the pictures and get the safe. That's it. I'm going. Let's go. And I mean, we a lot of our glass things were broken. Thank goodness we had insurance. And when it shakes out here, we were actually watching the water from the swimming pool go back and forth and come up on the patio deck. It was like, that was really strange. And then we had one where an apartment building collapsed down on the on the tenants, and it just looked like a pancake. Bam, 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 bam. It is really very scary. It is. So are you getting I survived the New York earthquake shirt?
I can't believe they already got shirts like that. It just happened yesterday. I heard that on the news. That's crazy. But there's a T-shirt for everything now.
It's a T-shirt for everything, and I like the funny ones. But that was really something that you guys felt that. So you can get a taste of how we feel out here, because we have riots and fires and quakes. Oh my, that's what we have in California.
Yeah.
They would say, oh, Californians, we don't like air we can't see. And there was a big giant brown circle around, especially hovering around LA. And it was like it was horrible. The air was terrible. But we've gotten better now. Just don't go to China. Their air is 10 times worse than ours is. Okay, who's up? Who's next, Mr. Shaq C?
All right, this is called "I Dumped You to Join a Gang."
Where do they find these people?
That's your people. That's your staff members.
And I remember telling them, I don't want to know until the day of the show. Let me get their name. Let me get the rundown. They were like, you don't want to meet them? Nope, I want to meet them when they come out on the show. I don't want to be tainted. I don't want to be judgmental until after I get to see what I'm going to be judgmental about. See, I think they came up with the slogan, don't judge me for me, because I'm going to judge you. Coming out here in that dress too tight, you know it's too tight when you put your back behind in it. Oh, now you ain't took a bath in 3 days? You smell like a bowl of yakame, and you look like one too. Then they got to go look up, what's yakame? Look it up. Now you can say, Google it. So I dumped you to join a gang. Okay, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
Some ginger.
Welcome back. Let's meet our next guest.
I got involved in a gang when I was 14. I sold drugs and I robbed people. My boyfriend was a straight, decent guy. He made me choose between him and my gang life. I chose the gang life. Today, I'm here to apologize to him.
Let's bring out Robin Crane. Robin, come on out. Robin,
hey.
How are you?
I'm okay.
So now, Robin, tell us about your relationship with your ex-boyfriend.
It started when we were real young. I'm 24 years old right now. We were both from two different lifestyles. Mm-hmm. I was more the aggressive one, and he was more the submissive one. I thought he was fine, though. I mean, he took my heart when I first saw him, and we were young. And we hooked up, and we were together for about a year. Maybe a little less. He was my puppy love. And I wanted the thug, I wanted the roughneck. I wanted the excitement and everything. And I was young at that point, so I wasn't really thinking straight. Thinking, this guy is good for me.
Or looking for somebody like that. Were you already involved in this thug life?
I was on the streets and I was selling drugs. Mm-hmm. Doing whatever. I robbed people. I mean, whatever it took to get a dime. He was, like I said, the total opposite. He wasn't about that at all. He never knocked me down for it, though. I just got bored. I got really bored because I wasn't used to being with a man like him.
What kind of man were you used to? I mean, you're 14.
I know, but I was used to hanging out and being a brat.
I'm being a little...
Just being a brat.
Thugette.
Yeah, just being a brat.
So you're out here in the street robbing people at gunpoint?
This happened when I was about 16 or 17. I started carrying guns and stuff, yeah. When I was about 14, I was just hanging out and being a brat.
Then you graduated
I graduated into the, yeah.
So what did you graduate from being a little thug to now a senior thug? I heard
a lot of people. I heard a lot of people.
Robbing, stealing, selling dope?
Yeah, I mean...
Come on, baby, you want to get it out? Get it out. It's all right.
I did stuff that a woman, you know what I'm saying, had no business doing.
I'm trying to find out, like what, baby?
It could be a 55, 60-year-old woman, and I'll put a gun to her head and take her. I wouldn't care. And he knew the direction that I was going. And he told me that if I didn't stop, you know, that it was done and that he didn't want nothing to do with me. And that we weren't, because we were going to live together. I mean, by this point, we had progressed in our relationship when we hooked back up the second time. And he told me to leave it alone and stop BSing around.
Okay. He wanted something better.
Yeah, he wanted something better for me, and I was too ignorant.
What did he say to you to make you know he wanted something better?
He gave me that ultimatum. He told me that if you want us to live together, you need to leave the streets alone. You need to stop, you know, doing wrong when you don't even need to be doing wrong. I had a good man. He was a good man. I mean, he was my best friend. He waited 1.5 years for me to even go to bed with him. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, we weren't even a sex thing, and it was just, we'd ride around, we'd do things that normal people I wouldn't think would do. We'd go to a park and just lay down and just talk about things.
So he saw a Robin that you didn't even see.
Yeah.
He saw the special person that was inside under all that gang banging.
And I was used to dating the knockoffs, you know what I mean? I was used to being with them.
So you get a decent guy. He says to you, Robin, you can do better than this. Either that gang life or me. And what happens?
I left him alone. I didn't talk to him after that. He wrote me a letter, and I knocked him off.
You just cut him off like that?
That was it.
But you said this was somebody that you loved.
I thought that my friends were more important to me at that time, and I thought that money was more important to me at that time.
Well, we spoke to Robin's ex-boyfriend, James, about what happened. Here's what he had to say.
When we first met, I knew she was into gangs. I was just looking for a friend at first, and then it grew into something else. I can't believe she chose the gang life over our relationship. I'm not the type of person to hold a grudge forever, but I'm also not the type of person who forgives and forgets easily.
I know that.
Robin.
I know.
You saw him, and a whole different look came over your face. A whole different look.
I'm going through it right now.
How do you feel about him now, seeing him?
He was my best friend. It's not even about wanting what we had, like, oh, we're going to live together. We had all these, you know, things we were going to do. It's his friendship.
But, okay.
That I miss him.
What hurts you the most,
right
seeing
now,
him like that?
I'm involved with somebody right now. Been with him for a couple years, or about 1 year and change now. Had a baby by him a few weeks ago. He's on the streets, and now it's vice versa. I'm hurting, and I'm saying I want him off the streets. I want him to stop, you know, doing what he's doing, because he's got more to give. He's got a lot of potential. These were the things James was saying to me back in the day, and so now I know how I did him wrong, and I can't imagine hurting James like that, and I feel horrible for hurting James like that.
So you don't like the way it feels?
I don't like the way I feel, and I probably made him feel 10 times worse because I didn't give him a reason. Everybody got their hands raised.
Yeah, we have a few questions. Yeah.
If he forgives you, is it that you want to get back with him, or you just want him to forgive you?
We had something real deep. I need his forgiveness. I do, but I want him back in my life. We don't need to be together. He may be married happily. He may have a good girlfriend. I don't know, because he deserves that. I'm not here to wreck anything he has, you know, but he knows me better than my family knew me. I mean, he knew me, and I miss him. I've missed him for a long time, and it's just time to...
You know, now he asked you a fair question. Are you giving us an honest answer, or one that's PC, just politically correct?
Honey, I'm shaking. I'm giving you an honest answer.
That's really how you feel?
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yes, stand up with me.
I just wanted to say to you that you should be so proud of yourself, that you've come this far, and you're a beautiful girl, and you have a lot to offer anyone and yourself. And
thank you.
You're a child now.
Before today's show, we show James Robin's message. We'll find out if he's here to forgive her when we come back. We'll be right back.
Now that's something. Even though she jumped the shark before it happened, that they became friends. And to just, I think it's so important, because you don't just discard the people that you love. And look what happens when you and you don't give them a reason, and they don't know why you're angry, and you don't know why they cut you off. And then to find out any kind of way that, she said she was involved with somebody else. She has a baby with the other guy and what have you. And she doesn't want to be disruptive in his life. She just wants him to forgive her for the mean thing that she did to him. And she realizes that. Some people don't get that point. That was a pretty bold, ballsy move on her part, if you ask me.
Right. It's I always have to respect the people who come on this show and are just, and she was struggling. I know you remember when you were there, you were trying to get her to talk more, and even when they're on the stage, it still takes a lot for them to want to get out the story because they know why they're there. They know what the purpose of them being there. But even still, in that setting, she was still a little bit hesitant to go into. And I'm sure a lot of what she's saying is probably worse than what she presented on the stage, because the way she was talking was kind of leading to that. But because especially in gang situations, there's a lot that happens, a lot of nasty sexual stuff that happens. So I wouldn't be surprised if that was what she was leading on to saying. But I know she probably didn't want to say that to save herself embarrassment or something like that. But
from the gang family.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, think about that. She took a big step to say, I was wrong. Please forgive me. And that's the one part you can't expect people to forgive you when you're asking for forgiveness. They might walk, they might not be at that door. They might not even want to have a conversation and be on the screen, behind us and in front of us to say what they want to say, because it could be very painful, and one of the things that I was really blessed with, and all of our whole crew and all of the producers and everybody was so blessed with, was the fact when they would say, the guests would say, I would ask them, well, why would you come on national TV? And they would say, you don't make it seem like it's on national TV. I feel safe with you. To get somebody into a place that they feel safe with you, bearing their soul like that, that's pretty darn awesome.
Yeah, it's good.
It's real awesome. Break your heart, though. Break your heart.
Yeah, do.
I told you I got my tissue. I'm gonna take stock in the Kleenex company. I didn't. Because I'm like, wait a minute. And you just never know where they're gonna come from, and they're groomed, the guests are, and they're, they get them to the, where they can talk and get it out of them. And all the producers would say, it's like somebody in her case, this is just for the sake of the conversation. That it would say, okay, now Mother Love, this one is not a talker. They got a really deep story. And I read the backstories on everybody. I didn't just go out there, never had, looked at the research that the producers, had gotten together and what have you. And people don't understand. It takes 147 people on a daily basis to put a show like that together. And, when you put it together, you got the nuts and bolts and, you want to go in a direction. And sometimes they just went completely off script.
Yeah.
And, okay, I ain't just saying it with them going off script, because sometimes I will go off script too. Get the Vaseline from her, John. Get the Vaseline. Don't let it take an ear. Yeah, and what my friends had a nickname for me. They gave me a street name, and I was like, you know what? Y'all make it sound so dirty when y'all say that, and they do like that. We know about you. I ain't getting ready to tell you what the name was, because y'all won't even call me Mother Love no more. Because it does sound scandalous. Okay, let's see what they did. What are they doing?
All right, let's see.
She made the biggest mistake.
Welcome back. We're here with Robin Crane, who's waiting to find out if her ex-boyfriend James is behind the door. Now, Robin dumped him after he told her she had to make a choice between gang life or him. She chose the gang. Well, Robin, before I send you to the door, how long ago have you seen him before you saw him today?
God, it's been about 3 or 4 years.
Well, it's time to take your place in front of the door and find out just what's going on with James. All right, Robin Crane, let's open the door.
That's a big word on first point.
Well, hey, James.
I feel better now.
Do you feel better now?
Yeah.
Well, talk to James.
I'm sorry.
I know.
You're my best friend. And you know you were the first guy I loved. Waited a year. For real.
Thought it was a year and a half. Year and a half, give or take.
It was up in there. It was a year and a half. But you're my best friend. I messed up big time. I did. And I told her and I told everybody, I'm not here to ask you back. You may be married. You may have a girl. I'm not trying to wreck that. But I miss you knowing me. You know what I'm saying? Because you knew stuff about me that my family didn't know, that nobody knew.
I'm happy that, the show called me and you called the show and got to see you again, and I'm more than happy that we could have a friendship, and I want that.
But when she told you, she told us you gave her an ultimatum, that you gave her the choice, the opportunity, never knocked her for being in the gang, just tried to steer her in the right direction to say, Robin, you can do better than this, you deserve better than this. When you gave her the ultimatum, look, it's that thug life for me, and she just put you aside, what went on in your heart?
It hurt, but I've seen other people go through the same thing, and I don't want to put myself through that,
So what did you do?
Situation. I had to think with my head, not with my feelings.
That had to be hard, though. Did you care for her?
Definitely.
Do you care for her?
Yes.
So what could you look, here I go. Mother love, get out of people's business. I'm just trying to, do you have a girlfriend? You married?
Yeah, no, I'm not married, but I do have a girlfriend.
Oh, okay. Yeah. See, I'm just checking.
I just had a baby and I'm with him. So.
Just checking. Because now she understands what you were trying to tell her. Because now she's standing in those same shoes. Are you out of that life?
Oh, yeah.
You're done with that?
Yeah. I mean...
So, there are a lot of young people who are still involved in that.
Yeah.
And they might want to try to get out, and maybe they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
What would you say to those young people, Robin?
If you got to move away and you got to be away from any bad influence in your life, move away. If you don't know nobody that you're going to, there's always a shelter you can stay at, and there's always someplace you can get back on your feet, find a job, work like that.
Something. Very good. Yes, sir. I miss you so much.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say it's great that you're trying to get your life back together, but what now? Now that you have James' apology, what's next? I mean, you have a husband that's on the street and a baby girl.
Yeah, he's my boyfriend.
She wanted to make that correction. And a baby boy. Another correction. Okay.
All I can do is just be patient, I think, and hope that he makes the right decision. But if he doesn't, I cannot, like he said, and he knows. We have been separated for a couple weeks where he's been in and out, and he knows that I'm not living like that, and I'm not going there. And I love him. It doesn't mean I don't love him, but I'm not going to put my child in a situation that's going to be dangerous for him.
Yes, ma'am.
Why would you leave James to go back into something that you were already trying to get out of?
At that time, I wasn't trying to get out of it. I had both. I mean, I was having fun hanging out, and I was in love with him.
But he wasn't going for it.
I know.
So what have you learned from all of this, Robin?
I mean, you find love once in a while, and never put a price on it, and never put your friends before it. Never do anything like that, because the person you love, if he really truly loves you, he's going to be the one that's always going to be there.
Well, I hope your boyfriend and your baby's father sees this and is listening to what you have to say. Because, you went through a lot of trauma, but you've come out a very bright young lady.
Thanks.
I thank you both for sharing your story. Thank you, James. I appreciate it. We'll be right back.
Feel like if they was in my living room. That's really something. That took a lot of cojones for both of them to be able to say, there's no animosity. Because, you break somebody's heart, hell hath no fury like a woman scorn. We're trying to chase you down and punch out your tires. And what you mean you just going to drop me and then you get the stalker, man? Oh, no. See, that just takes too much work. And cheating on somebody is way too much work. That's why you want to be cheat on some. I told you the story about my husband when we were still in Ohio. They thought he was married to a white woman and that he was cheating on the white woman with me. And I was like, ain't that Mother Love? That's the lady be on the TV and the radio. He's cheating on his wife with Mother Love. Oh my God. I just ain't never seen. And he never told him any different. He never told him because I was in a morning and afternoon drive on a Caucasian radio station, and he would come and turn up. My wife is on that station. My wife is on that station. So they just assumed he was married. I thought it was hilarious and mean at the same time. I'm like, Kennedy, why you just didn't tell them? And none of their business who I'm fooling around with. So I cheat on my husband with my husband. We have clandestine stuff to do. One time we did, and we both got lost. We went to a concert. And we was trying to sneak out the concert, unscrupulous activity in the car, and we couldn't find the car. We was walking around the parking lot to daybreak.
Oh my gosh!
No more clandestine stuff. And see, when they're your friend, you get to have memories like that. You get to make memories like that. And I've often said, even I would never divorce him. You can leave if you want to. That's on you. And I told him, if I ever leave you, I'm not coming back. I ain't doing all that backtracking. It's too much work. I'm not doing it. So, and our friendship is stronger. Our marriage is stronger because of our friendship. And our friendship is solid. And one of our friends, they've been married for 400 years like we have. And they're like, you just know when it's going to fit. And it's right. Progress every day. I tell them all the time, I love you today. Tomorrow will be another story. I don't predict, and even though I had a psychic hotline, I ain't going for that. Today, I tell you, I love you today. So now, who's coming up next? This is going by so fast.
I know, right? The next story is called "Son, I'm Sorry I Let Dad Kick You Out."
That went through the whole family. Mom, dad, the son. Okay.
Yep.
What's happening? Oh, that let you know we have licensed counselors on Forgive but Forget.
Right.
Leave them hanging. And a lot of times they had to go and see Polly. They had to go see Polly. She was so sweet.
Polly Corman, right. She was on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my girl. I talk to some of them sometimes, and now that we have, the whole Facebook, Instagram thing, I get to talk to more of them and get to see a lot of them. So that's been a real plus. And just watching them grow and their careers soar. And he was my favorite director. Yeah, I said it. He's my favorite director. And he went on, he's a big cheese over at ESPN now. And
wow.
So just watching them grow and and doing what they love to do, and so nobody can take that away from us under any circumstances. So take that. Yeah, I said it.
Mm-hmm.
I told you we had one of the big muckety mucks. She didn't like me, and I can understand that everybody ain't gonna like Mother Love. You might love Mother Love, but everybody's not gonna like me, and I can handle that. And then when I found out why, because she even tried to reason that stupid, make that stupid make sense. And she did, and I would have like these barbecues and these, big soirees out at our house, and we had, it was great. We got the swimming pool, and then we got the sandbox for the kids, and a little playground over here, big outside barbecue, everybody coming in. Bobby, you go pick her up in the limo, and she got a shopping cart full of spices and food. I'm like, you don't need all that. Yes, I do. She said, you bring, I ain't got no with you. Somebody coming in your house, you ain't got no, did you bring it in here with you? Bring, I ain't got no with you. That's what she said. Oh my goodness.
Oh, wow.
It was a hoot. And so she said, she had asked me, she said, she didn't even ask me, the lady who was running the show. She told everybody else, if you go out to Mother Love's house again, you're going to be reprimanded. I'm like, how you going to tell somebody what they can do on their off time? See, you done got carried away with yourself. And she was like one of those, I'm walking around and I run the stuff and you do what
no.
I was like, girl, if you don't go somewhere and sit your nail behind me. And they would always say, "Oh, mother, please, can you talk? I ain't gonna talk." And I had to tell you, you need to stop bullying these people. So she was on a rant. She was on a rant. I gotta get rid of her because I can't control her. I'm a grown woman with a grown son and a grown husband. Come to find out, that's what she was so pissed off about. How she gonna be that big and she got that fine husband over there? He just dotes all over her. I just don't understand. I say, it ain't for you to understand. It ain't none of your business. You couldn't say, well, I think I deserve to have a man like that. I'm like, baby, you're a long way off.
Oh, wow. See what jealousy do?
When I heard that, I was like, that cannot be. Y'all just full of stuff. And I'm just going to stop this rumor right now. So she came into the dressing room, and that was our hangout. The kids would come. I could keep calling them kids. Kids would come in, and we were going over the stories and, so-and-so and such and such. And, they'd sitting there with me in hair and makeup and everything. I'm like, we could, do more than one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm.
So I just talked to her yesterday or the day before yesterday. I tell her all the time, you got me fired off of forgive and forget. I'll tell people that all the time. She was my hairstylist in Ohio. And so she got tired of looking at whatever they was doing with my hair. She said, look, I'm coming to New York on Sunday. I'm going to do your hair. I don't care who you got to fire. You're not going on camera like that. Not another day. And one time the dude had my wig way back like this.
Oh,
I did my hair. Okay, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it was everybody had a job. Everybody had a position. They say, why don't you look at yourself in the full mirror? And why I got to look at myself in the mirror? Don't you handle my wardrobe? Don't you handle the jewelry? Don't you handle the hair? And that one handle makeup? If you're doing your job, when you're doing your job, I don't have to second guess. I don't have to look in the mirror. I tell you what I want from the beginning. I had this one lady, she was so heavy-handed. It was like she was trying to put makeup on with a crayon on me. And she would just, it was like, you too heavy-handed. And she was about big as this cup. And she had hands like a man, though. She had really big hands. And I said, you are too heavy-handed. And she said, I don't know what that means. I said, can you put my makeup on like you're making up a child's face? Because you are too heavy-handed. And one of them made me look like a drag queen. Even the drag queen got upset. The drag queen like, mother, you fired that. It was always, you need to fire someone, such and such. You need to get this. And I need to come be on your show. Oh, it was a bunch of fun. And she told the kids, you better not go back. You better not go. Because wherever we live, we call it our camp. And you come there, and when you leave like a happy camper. And so she was like, I'm sick of them coming in here on Monday talking about what a great time they had over your house and so-and-so and such and such. And you got all I want to be your friend. You'll never invite me. I said, I would never invite a viper to my home. She went, that would be like you saying to me, here, put this asp up on your breast and let it bite you because you need to let me come to your house. I was like, chick, that ain't never gonna happen. I don't know who you think you're talking to. I see that was another problem because I would speak up for what I said, what I meant. And the kids they would come in and try to break up the producing teams. And I was like, you can shift them around, but don't say the word break up because we all got to work here together. What you say is how you say it. And that's we ran it like a family. We're gonna look out for you, y'all gonna look out for us. We're gonna look out for each other. Don't never mind calling them. I had to break them up. I'm not call us in the middle of the night because they'd be drunk in New York and Kennedy had to get up. I am not going to get none. I'm telling them to get on the train. She cold-blooded. And so we had that kind of rapport, and she just wanted to do everything she could dismantle it, and it just didn't work. Oh, well, let's have a moment. Okay, moment's over. What's the next story?
Yeah, so that the next story is I'm sorry to let dad kick you out. So here we go.
Welcome back. Let's meet our next guest.
My name is Margaret Sessions. When our son was 18 years old, my husband kicked him out of the house because he wouldn't get a job. That was 17 years ago. He refuses to speak to me. Today, I'm here to tell him I'm sorry.
Please welcome Margaret Sessions. Hi, Margaret. So now tell us about what happened 17 years ago that your son got kicked out.
17 years ago, my son was 18, and
he had lost a job that he worked for, and he wouldn't go look for another job. He wouldn't work. He wouldn't help around the house. So my husband kicked him out of the house because he was 18. And I cried and threw temper tantrums and stuff and got him back in. And I gave him another chance, and he still wouldn't do anything. Then he was kicked out. He had a car that he would sleep in, and I would put blankets on the line knowing that he would get them, because they'd be gone when I got home. And I would leave after my husband and get back before him, and I would leave the back door unlocked with food sometimes in the refrigerator for him. And it would be gone when I got home. And I would look for him, you know, and give him money and what money I could, because I felt bad about him being out by himself. To me, he was a baby. He's my baby.
So you didn't feel he was ready to be out there in the world even though he was 18?
I wasn't ready for him to be out there. No, I didn't think he was ready to be out.
Well, you weren't ready for him to leave either?
No, he was.
So what did your husband say? I mean, when you said, no, let him come back in, he lets him come back in. He's just laying around the house. Did he go back to school?
No, he didn't do anything.
So he didn't go on to college, he just laid around. He finished high school, yes?
Eventually, but not at that time.
He had dropped out of high school as well?
Yes.
So now he's dropped out of high school. He's laying around, not doing anything. How old was he when he dropped out of high school?
About 15.
So you gave him kind of like 3 years to get himself together, to go back to school, get a job, get a trade, something.
Yeah, he worked at one job for 3 years. They told him when he got 18 he would be assistant manager. And when he turned 18, they hired somebody else. And that's why he was jobless. He quit because they didn't keep their promise.
Okay, so he quits a job.
Right.
When he didn't get promoted like he thought. So then he goes and he doesn't do anything?
Nothing. He didn't look for a job or anything.
So what did he say to you when you would go to him and you would say, well, Paul, you know, you got to get up, or your husband would say, Paul, you got to get a job, or you got to help around the house? What would his response be?
He wouldn't really have a response. He would just mumble something or say, I'm trying, you know, but he would still, I'd ask him, you know, if he found a job yet, and he never would find one. I took him to the unemployment office, and he walked in the front door and out the back door.
You took him to the unemployment office?
Yes. And I watched him walk out the back door. I watched him walk in the front door, and he walked out the back door.
So what are you thinking? Now, I'm trying to help the child, and he's walking out the back door. He had to start learning how to stand on his own 2 feet, it seemed like, someplace. You know, I mean, you weren't raising him to be to just lay around your house. I'm sure you were raising him so that he would be viable and productive and could go out and stand on Paul's 2 feet. Not stand on Mom's 2 feet, lean on Dad's back. Am I correct?
That's correct.
What did your husband say when he finds out that you're still giving Paul money, still feeding Paul after you put him out?
He didn't find out until just a few years ago.
You mean to tell me you sneaking them money, sliding them food, and Dad doesn't know anything? Now you're deceiving your husband.
Well, he knew about the blankets and the money, but he didn't know about leaving the food for him.
And when he found out, what did he say?
Nothing, because he has changed since then. He's not as strict as he was then. Back then, he was the ruler of the household.
You don't think you thought he was just being strict on your son by sending him out there?
Real strict.
But he wasn't doing anything.
I understand.
He just laying around, sucking up air, eating up all the food. Eating up, I mean, and I know this is your son. My adult son lives with me too. But if dude didn't have a job, he would be living at somewhere else other than with me. Now, how long was it between the time you left? When was the last time you saw your son?
I saw my son in February, but it had been 10 years between that.
Did you talk to him?
I had talked to him a few times on the phone when he would call and need family information, or I would call his girlfriends when I would find out where he was, and he would be verbally abusive and just talk and ask questions, and I'd have to answer the questions, and then he would be say, "Why are you calling me?" And then he'd ask me another question, and I'd say, "Because you asked him questions." And finally I got to where I didn't call him anymore.
Because the conversations got so abusive?
Yeah, not really.
What did he say to you?
Vulgar. He would just, how bad of parents we were. We were not good parents.
Yeah, we have a few questions, Margaret. Send it with me. Yes, darling.
I just think as a mom, my mom raised me, and I'm 21 now, but as a mom, you did all you could do. And if your son just doesn't want to listen, that's not your problem anymore. He's over 18, he's an adult. And if he can't be an adult, then what else can you do? You can't feed him anymore. You can't force the spoon down his mouth. He has to do it himself.
Well, Margaret wanted her son to know how truly sorry she is for what happened. Take a look at her message.
Paul, I'm sorry your dad and I kicked you out when you were 18. I was the best mother I knew how, and I have been so hurt because you won't come back. It's been 17 years. Paul, please forgive me. Give me a chance to be part of your life and your baby's life. Paul, give me a chance.
Oh, Margaret, before today's show, Paul got to see your message. We'll find it if he's here when we come back from our break. Okay?
I love her.
Mm-hmm.
I love mother love. If I weren't mother love.
Oh, I thought you meant the woman.
I love mother love. I love her. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she should do this for a living.
Yeah. She's too crazy to get out of doing this kind of stuff. And the guilt that she has, that Margaret has, that's been weighing on her for 17 years. That's a long time to be away from your mother, and she's still living. I think it's, when you think about it,
I couldn't imagine
when people don't get their mother love and their father love like they need. This is the kind of thing that happens because it can shatter a relationship. Yes. And my mother and I, we had a love-hate relationship, and then I found out why she had a love-hate relationship to me. She said, because you act too much like me. You're an independent thinker. You got your own way of doing things, and not to say that my way is bad or your way is bad or bad or whatever. You know what's best for you. And I was like, and I'm not even the oldest, okay? I'm the middle child. I'm the one that's supposed to be getting ignored, even though I did for the most part. But she said I was her problem child because I ain't gonna come and find out you laying dead in a ditch someplace. I'm like, mother, I don't hang with people that would leave me dead in a ditch any place. I didn't have a driver's license until I was 26, but I knew how to drive a car, and I learned on a stick shift. Who let you drive that car? I said, my girlfriend's name. Do they know you a minor? Mama, please don't tell them. Don't tell them. Because they said I didn't act like a teenager. I act like a grown woman because I was grown at 17. I knew I could take care of myself at 17 and been taking care of myself ever since then. I tell my husband, you ain't got to get no job to take care of me. I take care of my own self. Don't be trying to tell me how to spend no money. Okay, that went out the window. I'm just saying. I said it. I said it. My favorite thing to say to my husband, oh, I want that. Put it on the truck. Now I go, oh, I want that. Put it on the truck. Okay, what you going to take out to make sure you got room for that?
To fit.
And then they accused me of being a whore. I told you our house flooded, right? And we had to get all new floors throughout the house. So we had to move it because I told them, if y'all move this stuff outside, I'm not coming back to this place. I'm gonna go someplace else and live. They moved everything, and it was just so much stuff that I ain't seen in I don't know how long. And I figured this is my rule: if I haven't seen it, wore it, or used it in 3 to 5 years, it's going out. And I've donated a lot of stuff to the charities and to the, what is it? The one where they get the clothes for the women, Dress for Success. And they always said, because they didn't have anybody that had a plus size clothing. And most of these women were plus size. So I gave them all. After I lost weight, I gave them. They was like, literally crying. This executive director was literally crying. And I was like, what's the matter? Y'all don't want. She said, nobody ever brings us clothes this good. And especially not in the plus size community. So that made me feel good to know that I, what little bit I could do, that I could help. But to be I couldn't even imagine not speaking to my mother for 17 years. Even if she called me up to cuss me out. Because they will call you just to, keep you on the edge, make sure you know to walk on eggshells when they get on. I'm like, mama, please, come on. What? No, I didn't, good well. I said that to my mama. Mama, please. I still got an eye on the right side of my face because she just smacked it out of my head. So, okay, so now we back to Margaret. That's enough of my sob story.
Welcome back. We're here with Margaret Sessions. She says she let her husband kick their son out of the house over 17 years ago, and now her son won't even speak to her. Margaret, I know this has got to be so hard for you, but it's time for you to take your walk to the door and find out if Paul is here, ready to accept your apology. You ready?
I think so.
Okay, I'm right here with you. Go take your place in front of the door. All right, Margaret Sessions, let's open that door. Oh, Margaret. Oh, Margaret. Oh, I'm so sorry.
This is my last chance.
It's not your last chance. This is your son. And as long as you have breath in you, you cannot tell me that you won't always try to find a way to mend his heart, mend your heart, and share your mother love with you. This is heartbreaking. And Paul did not walk through the door, but he did have something he wanted to say to you. We have that for you now. Here's Paul's response.
I'm not going to forgive you. Some things, some people do things that just cannot be forgiven. The thing that you did when I was 18, I cannot forgive you for. You put me in a hole that caused me to, live out of my car, sleep in my car in 25-degree weather, being harassed by cops, almost on a nightly basis, not knowing when I'm going to eat next. I had to dig myself out of that hole that you put me into. That's it. The answer is no. You are not going to be a part of my life, nor are you going to be a part of my baby's life. There's not going to be any letters, no phone calls, no third-party contact. No. The answer is no, period. The answer was no then, the answer is no now, and the answer will always be no, period.
Jesus. God.
He did not.
Margaret.
He didn't get a job.
They were painful words for
somebody else. See, this is the kind of stuff that just pissed me off. And see, he doesn't have. He's being very unsympathetic because he wants to be right, and I'm gonna show you. I'll fix you. You ain't gonna never get over this. You ain't never gonna see your grandchild. Okay, but obviously he does not understand part of the Bible when Scripture says, "Honor your mother and your father, so that your days are long." See, and right there, every time he said the answer's gonna always be no, that could be another year taking off his thing, and it's gonna be no now. That's another one, and he won't. His days won't be long, and maybe because God got away, and for her to open up like this after so long, I can understand, why he would be angry to a point. Okay, but check this out.
But to just be so cold-hearted.
That's what I'm talking about, and be so vicious and vehement about it. And
then to do it, and then to just have you're doing it on national television where other people are going to see that. Like, are you just not cognizant? Yeah.
And what about your son? I'm sure you probably didn't show your son this story, as he was growing up, or whatever daughter, baby, you got your son or your daughter. That's cutting you off That's cutting them off. You shouldn't take your revenge off on a child to deny that child to be with his grandparents. You know, a lot of kids don't even have grandparents. And for her to be so vulnerable and to put herself in this position to be dejected by her child, I just couldn't even imagine that, you know. And see, that's bad juju on you. He done put some bad juju on himself. And when it come out the clear blue sky, he not going to even think it's coming out the clear blue sky. That's going to be karma. That's that bad juju coming back on, because what goes around comes around. And this woman gave you life. And she was sneaking and lying to her husband so you could have warm blankets when you were sleeping in your car, so you could have food. She kept the back door unlocked. It wasn't like she just cut you off and didn't do anything for you. You know, she had been doing that all along. And you never once said, well, Mom, I'm sorry because I didn't want to get a job and I just wanted to lay around. I want to eat up the food and suck up the air, and I don't want to help with he don't even want to even help with the chores. Okay, but now it's all her fault. Okay, so when you hear somebody like that, and how he was just nasty to me.
Oh well, let's finish the story first, because I know this had you heated. So
okay,
for me to hear, I can't imagine what is going through your head right now. I think me and this whole audience is behind her. Yeah. Do you understand why he been, you know? Want to know, is it me and maybe some, because you know sometimes I can be a little trippy, but does it sound like he's not taking responsibility for his own actions? You said he dropped out of school. He quit a job that he had because he didn't get what he wanted. And because it just sounds like to me, you know, not beating up on him like beating up on him, but it sounds like to me, instead of taking responsibility for, well, I dropped out of school, I chose not to, you know, do what I wanted to do. I chose not to follow your rules and regulations. So therefore, since you're going to put me out, it's all your fault. It didn't look like he was hurting too much now. It don't look like he missed a meal now. I mean,
yeah, he's a computer programmer now.
Is this all that it is? Wait a minute. So then kind of sort of in a way you did him a big favor. Had he not been put out, not been made to stand on his own 2 feet, he might not even gone on to be educated to become a computer programmer. You know, now, I mean, this has got to be very painful to hear. But one thing it seems to me, Margaret, you got to hold your head up, because, listen, our job is to be your parent. Our job is to teach you to be viable, productive people, stand on your own 2 feet. Our job does not entail you being a parasite and laying around on your behind not doing what you're supposed to do. You're only supposed to be, you can only parent for a certain amount of time. Then you become the parent of an adult child. You just can't keep being, you're his mother, but you can't keep mommying. And see, I think he just got a little ticked off that you told him, and your husband was tough enough to say, look, son, you got to stand on your own 2 feet. Now, I commend your husband, and I commend you for your effort. But you know, like I know, why even 17 years later, people have a tendency to hold a grudge for a long time. But somewhere down the line, his heart will have to soften, if for no other reason than that's your son and he's somebody's father, and he'll have to answer the questions one day.
That's right.
You just hold your head up, Margaret. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I know this had to be painful, but maybe he'll come around one day. We'll be right back.
Well, it seems I haven't changed my attitude from that to this day, almost verbatim. You know,
pretty much.
And you think about it, that conversation is just as relevant, if not more, now than it was even back then, because we've seen where there was a marker, there was a jumping off point with the program. And like I said, I wasn't never the be all, do all, end all, say all of talk show hosts. I couldn't even get that crazy out. But and to understand, there's got to become a time when you're not parenting, you're now become a guidance counselor. That's what we went from, being your parent and raising you and making sure you become a viable, productive member of society. He comes to us, you know, for advice, you know, and we give him the advice. And oftentimes he don't like to hear my advice because it makes him be responsible. And he'll go, well, I'm just going to ask my dad. I'm like, Black man, do you know that's my husband? You do realize he's not just your daddy. You do realize he's my husband too, right? Right. And I don't know what make you think you can get all up in here and in between that. And his father going, he's terrible with the grandchildren. They got him wrapped around his little finger. I don't look. We got rules and regulations, and you got to start someplace. See, I'd have been ticked off when he dropped out of high school. I was like, you better go get a work permit. That's what you better do. This has been really enlightening and very entertaining, and I appreciate everything you do, Mr. Shaq C. Tell people how they can get in touch with you.
Well, you can go to my YouTube channel, Shaq C, and watch all the Forgive and Forget episodes I've uploaded. Also at Broadcast Plaza, it's a Discord. It's also on my channel, Shaq C. So if you want to go there and talk more, we can do that. And you can also email me at atomicdog22@gmail.com.
Okay.
If you are a guest of Forgive and Forget, if you are a former person who worked at Forgive and Forget, please let me or Mother Love know so that we can maybe have you one day here on the show reminiscing and talking about this wonderful program that Mother Love was a part of.
And will always be a part of it. Remember, you can watch Mother Love on Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Castbox, Deezer, Facebook, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Instagram, Jill Sullivan, LinkedIn, Podchaser, Podcast Addict, Restream, Spreaker, Spotify, TikTok, Twitter. I know we're going to have to work on the X, and YouTube. And just remember, babies, no matter how short or small, big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, doesn't matter what kind of skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. Thank you, Shaq, for sharing the love with us. And we'll see you back here on next Saturday. Oh, no. I'm going to the I'm going to be in Vegas at the Funk Explosion in North Las Vegas at the Amp. It's going to be off the chain. And I'm so looking forward to it. Garrett Management is the producers. There's going to be the SOS Band, Loose Ends. There's going to be a tribute to Bobby Womack. I grew up with his sister. Her brother, Bobby Womack knew my sister, but he was older than me. And it's going to be something else. So if you're in the Vegas area, come on up there to North Las Vegas at the Amp and hang out with Mother Love and the other folks in the band. Because we're getting the band back, man. This has been awesome. Thank you, babies. Y'all be sweet. Know that we love you. And ain't nothing y'all can do about us loving you.